Welcome, and today we are going to look at a MasterGMAT sentence correction question. Actually, this error type is one that is quite common in the GMAT, even for high-scoring students. Something we don't often notice, which we'll talk about in a sec. As usual, for those of you who'd like to give it a try, you can pause the recording and then unpause it after you're done with the questions so that you can listen to the explanations. So go ahead and pause the recording now. Okay, welcome back. Well, what is the first thing we do? As you probably know, if you have watched a few of these videos, is we have to follow a certain work order. That work order at MasterGMAT is basically, first you read the sentence, and you try to determine whether you can find anywhere between 0 to 2 grammatical errors first. So the first thing is grammar, obviously. Later on we talk about style. But first, grammatical errors. So, if you read this, what do you see? Let's assume that you actually do see something, right? And you see, basically, the words more influential than. Well, that's an immediate stop sign. A stop sign is one of these red flags which we teach you at MasterGMAT, which you must pay attention to test whether the grammar is correct or the style is correct. In this case, we see that it's a comparative, so there's a comparison going on. What do we know when we look at comparisons? We know that they must be also grammatically correct comparisons and logically correct comparisons. Here, everything is okay grammatically from a comparative standpoint. Was more influential than. That's all right. However, let's check out what's being compared. Right? We're talking about his ingenious printing press technology, made obsolete only by the advent of the digital era, was more influential than any inventor of his age. What's being compared? His ingenious printing press technology with any inventor of his age. Doesn't make sense whatsoever. We can't be comparing the technology itself with any other inventor of his age. Therefore, A is gone right away. Now, let's say we click this just to see what happens. Of course, we have our time awareness tool. We took longer than what is actually going to be shown, but it makes us super aware of the time. Click on OK. As you see, we teach you the stop signs. When you see a stop sign like, unlike, than, or as, you know that you have to check the comparisons. They must be grammatically and logically comparable. So, of course, at MasterGMAT, we don't just spoon feed you the answers. We let you try again. You click on try again. Oh, by the way, look at this. If you're not sure, right, you can click on your summaries list and you actually have the summary of the lesson itself. And this gives you a nice little bit of info just to refresh your memory a little bit, and you can go right back into the question. Okay, so we know A is out. What happens with B? Was more influential than that of any other. Well, what's wrong with this one? In this one over here, what happens is that the comparison seems correct, right? What's more influential? Well, the technology with that of any other. The that refers back to that original technology, so that the comparison so far seems okay. Technology with technology, not technology with inventor. So we keep it for now. Okay, what happens in C? More influential than that of any other. Well, in this one, while the answer choice corrects the logic of the comparative construction in the original question by using the that once again, right, to refer back to the first item in the comparison, it isn't grammatically correct, because what did we do? We got rid of, you always have to pay attention to the little changes. Look at was, right? Was taken out of here. And what does that do? If you actually read the sentence, we're missing a conjugated verb. And if we're missing a conjugated verb, we have the subject, right? What's the subject? His ingenious printing press technology. You can't say the printing press technology more influential than that of any other. That is called a fragment. This clause is missing, or the subject rather, and clause is missing its own conjugated verb, and that's what causes a fragment. Every clause needs its subject and verb. So we get rid of C based on grammatical considerations. We go to D. Had more influence than any other. Well, let's think about that as well. What happens here? Is it logical? Well, we're still missing the that, so we're still comparing, illogically comparing the invention itself, the ingenious printing press technology, right, with other inventors. So that's still illogical. More than that, you have had more influence, which is a little bit awkward, right? Was more influential or influenced as opposed to had more influence would be better. So we get rid of D, and E, was more influential than that of any. Now, in this one, what happens? We have the that, so that seems to correct the illogic of the original sentence, right? Invention with invention. However, there's still another illogical little gimmick going on over here. What is it? The printing press is now compared to inventions by any inventors of Gutenberg's age, right? So it says his ingenious printing press technology was more influential than that of any inventor of his age. Well, it's not than that of any inventor of his age, it's than that of any other inventor of his age. It can't be that we're comparing the printing press to inventions by any inventors of Gutenberg's age, including Gutenberg himself. That's not actually logical. It makes no sense because the printing press technology cannot be more influential than itself. So that's illogical. If that doesn't make sense to you, just take a second to read it and really think about what's being compared. Whenever you have a comparison, you have to, or comparison words, your stop sign, you have to stop and think about A, is it grammatically comparable? And B, what is it that's being compared? Is it logically comparable? Because it's not just about the grammar, it's about logic over here. Therefore, we go back to B, click on that, and that is indeed our answer. Okay, so that's it. That's a little comparative question, and we'll see you next time with another question. Take care.